Like a snake, rowing should be smooth and fluid, but that's where the comparison should end. If there's anything too snaky in your boat, then chances are it's going to bite you.
In the ass!
Hey, it's time for another Why Not to Row Like an Olympian. A lot of people have taken a look at the giant-slaying Greek Olympian Stefanos Ntouskos, and now it's my turn. Here is a prime example of the fact that if you are an exceptional athlete with incredible tenacity and boundless strength and endurance,
I smell like an athlete.
that you can make a stroke work even if it has a number of characteristics that are going to make most coaches go,
Wrong, 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 wrong.
and still make it to the very top of our sport. If, however, you are only human, you may need to consider your form a little bit more carefully.
Think, WizKid, think.
His accomplishments speak for themselves, and he makes his stroke work, but he does so by getting around a few issues that you probably shouldn't have in the first place. Let's take a look at his stroke, and I'll give you my 5 cents worth and show you what I mean. Let's start after the placement as the drive phase commences. Stefanos has one of the most pronounced metronome actions of all the top scullers. He starts the drive in a considerably rounded position. He then sits up quite prominently into the body swing, and then rounds again into the extraction. I think I know what this is about because I worked really hard to get rid of it myself. It's as if you want to make a hollow so that you can turn your hands through the back end. Let me know if you think that there's any merit in this. We believe that you can't do it without sacrificing your form, and it delays the ability to get back into a strong position. There is no doubt that this man is super fast, but for anybody watching his body position, it is important that you know that neither the front nor the back end should be this rounded. And let's have a look at why. At the front, you are in a much weaker position to effect a powerful drive. You have shortened and softened the lever of your upper body and have dramatically reduced the amount of space that your lungs have to expand into. At the back end, this downward movement also dumps weight into the bow, increasing resistance on the hull. Sitting up, not necessarily dead straight, and drawing up at the extraction keeps the pressure on the spoon longer, allows you to get your pelvis back into flexion, to be in a strong position early in the recovery so that you arrive at the front end relaxed and ready to place and drive. Also, most of us mere mortals need air, and after the extraction is where we take our biggest breath, which is conveniently in the part of the recovery where you open your torso into the movement that we call the twerk. Mr. Superhuman Ntouskos over here breathes into a body that is rounded at the extraction and almost rounds more as he rocks over. Let's take a look at the orientation of Stefanos' pelvis. It's very similar to Ollie Zeidler, but not quite as extreme. He does not seem to ever rock his pelvis into flexion. It literally only moves from this angle into this one through his stroke. This is where his body position comes from. It would simply take too long to get from this angle back up onto your sit bones. So as you can clearly see here, the rock comes from his head and his shoulders, and they drag the pelvis along with them. We believe that the upper body should be tall and relaxed, and should find its position by your pelvis informing your upper body on where it needs to be. If you move your weight onto the front of your seat while thinking about pinching into your hip flexors and moving your ribs up towards your knees, then you should be in your own best natural body position. Then, with Stefanos, after the rockover commences, there is also a definite downward dive in the direction of the footplate. And now is when things start to get snaky. This is mostly the point of this video, but if you see something wrong with someone's form, it's probably happening because of something that happened before it. So it was important to look through the drive and the recovery before addressing it. Stefanos' body position comes into the front end, in our opinion, far too tipped forward. And as we discovered, this comes from rocking forward from the shoulder after extracting with a rounded or slumped core. As he begins to compress, his chest arrives at his thighs before his slide reaches its full forward movement. This then makes him have to straighten up a little while his slide catches up. And this is the snaky movement that we've been referring to. It looks like the placement is made during this movement, so in a way, this is a shoulder catch. But as you can see, he does a great job of resisting the urge to open up the upper body too soon. He definitely squeezes the first part of the drive with the legs, and then sits up into the tallest part of that metronome movement that we mentioned earlier. So, why does this happen? Are his feet perhaps too high, which would have the effect of tipping him backwards and stopping him from arriving at the front in a more upright position? There are arguably reasons to have higher feet and a more horizontal drive, but this can absolutely not be to the point where it detriments your ability to find your natural position. Because he is one of the shorter athletes in the upper echelons of sculling,
I'm short. You're not short.
is he perhaps trying to make additional length by reaching further forward and back? We believe that you should not be trying to reach past the bounds of your own physiology. Is this simply the result of someone who started rowing with inflexible hamstrings and, as he has become more competitive and started winning races, has just found a way to work around the habits that the lack of flexibility caused? I'd like to play the devil's advocate like I normally do, and if any of you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. Personally, I can't find any reason to do this, and I would encourage any aspirant rowers to not try and emulate this form. Clearly, Stefanos Ntouskos is an incredible athlete. He is fit enough to not need his full lung capacity and powerful enough to be able to pull off what he does with the form that he has. And if you consider the stroke rate that this guy rows at, it's really amazing. But you always have to wonder, how fast could he be? Like with the other Olympians that we've looked at, I always feel uncomfortable criticizing anything that they do because their accomplishments speak for themselves. At the same time, I'm also very sure that the form that most of them use would not benefit the average aspirant rower.